So I'm very excited to present this program overview for Candle and Bonfire as a coaching process. It's a trauma-informed coaching process that's non-pathologizing, although it does look directly at problems. It just recharacterizes them. So they're not pathologies, but visions. They are desires. Every problem that you have is actually something that you want. So we're going to look at the positive aspect of the negative complaint. So if you don't like something in your physical environment, that means you want something different in your physical environment. If you don't like something in your emotional environment, that means you want something different. Same with the mental, financial, and social environments. So the first principle is that your complaints are not a problem. Your complaints are not something to be embarrassed or angry or shy or frustrated or worried about. They are actually 100% natural. They're never going to go away. It's really just a matter of relating to them in a way that's empowering and uniting of you with your problems rather than you being upset that you have problems at all. So when you identify your problem, be it physical, emotional, mental, financial, or social, in this program, we're going to start with one at a time because it really does take some time to reprogram your life, retrain, redesign, rewire your life to have a substantial and measurable impact in a material way to get the thing that you want. And so what we're talking about is actually getting the thing that you want, be it a physical thing, emotional, mental, financial, or social thing. And 3 months is enough. 3 months is enough to get something that you want in any of those five domains that you don't currently have. So it's a 3 month program, and it's a trial program because there could be building blocks. Could take 3 months to build this, and 3 months to build this, and 3 months to build that, all of which come together to create a new life over the course of 9 or 12 months. But it's totally possible. This is a transformational process that we're going through. It's intentional transformation. We're all changing anyway to begin with. So that's not the point. The point here is the invitation to take a greater role in the change and transformation that you are already going through. This is about self-determination because you are determined. You will be determined by a variety of conditions. And so we are going to include you as one of the conditions that you are determined by. So this is self-determination, so that you are one of the conditions that you are determined by. And in principle, there's no limit to how much how much of a role you can play in being the determining factors in your own trajectory and ultimately identity, who you are, how your life is, what physical, emotional, mental, financial, and social circumstances you both inhabit, and project. So really, you are a channel. You are a process, and you heretofore have played less of a role in your own life than you will play going forward. Going forward through our program, you are playing more of a role in your own life and doing that more intentionally with more consciousness that you're doing it, and that becomes a self-reinforcing process of self-determination. And then once you do that, you actually become more interested in being determined by others intentionally. When you realize how much of an influence you have on your own life and that you are one of the conditions that applies, you can then bring in other conditions. So this is about push and influence because you are being pushed around or influenced by your desires already, by your complaints already. You're just doing it half-heartedly. You're doing it without a plan. You're doing it with a low level of consciousness, and that's not an insult. We are here to raise your consciousness about things that are currently vague, complaints, upset, issues that are mostly out of sight, out of mind, because up until now, to look at them has been so painful that it was, and you didn't know what to do with your complaints, that it just seemed better for your mental health to prevent the complaints from taking up so much of your bandwidth. And so what we do is step one. I mean, I have the steps here actually. Step one is complaints. It's called the CABSS, the Candle and Bonfire Success System. And cabs are things that take you places, right? And and cabs is one kind of a car. Our Candle and Bonfire Success System is one kind of a car. And I have another acronym for car, which is, let me find cabs first. Let me find cabs first. Oh, where the hell was it? Episode 3 show notes. Yeah. Candle and bonfire success systems. C is for complaining candles and how we've been blown out by circumstances, where the pain and pressure is in our lives, guided by the tangible data of subjectively detected pressure across the 5 domains of life: physical, emotional, mental, financial, and social. It's the question of, when do you feel dominated by conditions? How does life feel too big and powerful for you to play any role in how it turns out? In what ways do you feel helpless and like your life is being determined for you by others and they're not doing a great fucking job? That's C. A is for and, candle and, complaining candles and collapses apparent duality into a single phenomenon. The candle and bonfire are both forms of fire. They're both fire. So what's the unifying theme? Candle is one thing, bonfire is one thing, separate thing, but they're both fire. Every complaint represents a problem and a solution. So a problem and a solution look like different things, but they're both inside of complaint. The way the world is broken and how it will look when the problem is solved. That translates your complaint or how you're upset with things into a commitment, which is how you think things should be. You only have a complaint because you already have a presupposition of how things should be. So we're going to bring out that presupposition. We're going to understand clearly what the commitment, what the river of commitment is that lies beneath that cloud of complaint. That means the cloud of complaint needs to be penetrated, not danced around or avoided or turned away from because it's so painful and chaotic. There is a peacefully flowing river beneath that cloud of complaint, and that's where we're going. B is for bonfires and blue skies. Pivot your attention from the present hell to the future heaven, naming the value that we treasure. The bonfire, the river keeps flowing, and the bonfire doesn't get blown out. This is where you become relentless. The thing that you can't stop complaining about is the thing that you are here to solve. You are meant to solve the thing that you can't stop seeing. The thing that you can't stop seeing, the thing that you can't stop complaining about, is the thing that it's your destiny to solve. S is for systematic. We catalog what resources we have at our disposal with an emphasis on physical, emotional, mental, financial, and social resources, privilege, access, capacity, power, energy, influence, vitality, and ability across all 5 of those domains: physical, emotional, mental, financial, and social. Because you are powerful. You have a lot of power that you have not accounted for. You have not inventoried, you have not cataloged, you have a lot of power and influence, but you're acting helpless. And so we're going to inventory exactly how powerful you are. You have use of the English language. You have use of both hemispheres of your brain. We're really going to go first principles on this and catalog your entire resource inventory and discover what tools and insights you have, as well as which ones you're missing. And the ones that you're missing, if you need them to in order to get in order to take action aligned with your commitment, then we will onboard those tools also. But taking action that's aligned with your commitment, and we're talking about experimental action. We're talking about it's okay to fail action. When you're taking action that's aligned with your commitment, you will move the ball down the field. You will alter the probabilities of your own success. That means you will become one of the determining forces in your own trajectory and destiny, rather than having, other stuff play a more, other people, other minds bigger than yours, other minds more powerful than yours, like Jeff Bezos or Larry Page. Right now, all of our minds are dominated by these sovereign individuals. But as we learn what it is to grow the powers of our own mind and increase our level of self-determination in our own life, then we become less dominated by the minds of others and influences outside of our control, which we are, of course, we don't like. We don't like not being in control of our own life. The whole point of education, the whole point of connections and privilege and power is to be able to break free of the influence of people who don't care about us and come under the influence of ourselves because we care about ourselves so much. And then once we've done that, then we can go into interdependence. People confuse interdependence with codependence. And we'll talk more about that later. But the issue is that you cannot be a positive, you can only be a positive contributing member to a community that you're a part of to whatever degree you're already an independent individual operating within that community. Whatever pieces of childhood, whatever remnants of childhood you carry with you that have not grown up, will operate as needy influences, needy dynamics in any group setting that you encounter, and will undermine your relationships with other people, especially if you don't relate to them in the right way. If you relate to childish parts of you as children, that's one thing, but very few of us do that. Most of us relate to the childish parts of us as the adults in the room. And that's when adults start to fight. It's when the children inside of the adults are fighting with each other, and this undermines everything. So system S for systematic. Catalog what resources we have at our disposal with an emphasis on physical, emotional, mental, financial, and social resource, privilege, access, capacity, power, energy, vitality, influence, and ability. How do we already dominate our circumstances individually and collectively? We are fucking powerful. Let's not keep pretending that we're not. When has prolonged and repeated exposure to high stakes and high pressure situations in the past empowered us by both increasing our skills and connections, as well as on a meta level of giving us confidence that we can get through anything that matters enough to us? All bonfire language. S is for sketch and step. So at first S was systematic, candle and bonfire success system. Completely fair. Voila. Let's go.
That's a cool visual.
It is. All my coaching is gonna go through the roof just because of this content.